and you're probably wondering what this is here around my neck. Is this a rerun of Emergency? No. It's my doctoral gift as Reverend Dr. Mike McMorrow. So if you need to come in and get a treatment, just come on in. I'm all set. Thank you, Melena Dawn.
So cute.
And it has two little bits of bling on it. One says Reverend Dr. Mike and the other one says blessed. So, you can come in on Sundays now and I'll show it to you. I'll even let you hold it. So welcome to the Wednesday night Attitude of Gratitude. And man, it is sitting room only in here tonight. So we're blessed to have our buddy Phil, one of our new practitioners here. He's not a new practitioner, but new to us before the pandemic. You've actually been here 3 years now, but only 2 when any people around. So we're glad to have him, and Reverend Dr. Maureen drove all the way from Newberry Park, so that you could sit at home in the comfort of your own home, watching at home, live at home. No dig there. Anyway, so we're going to start our service this evening by asking Phil to come up and join me. And we're going to start our service the way we start every service, with our call to service, which we call Lighting the Flames of Faith. So maybe we can bring the lights down just a wee bit as we take a deep, conscious breath here in the hall and you at home, and just release. And in that release, just allow ourselves to surrender to this eternal now moment as we recognize together that we are here to promote the universal consciousness of life, which acknowledges that all peoples, all faiths, all sentient beings come from the one great universal presence, which we call Spirit. Now, fundamental to this truth is the unifying nature of all religious thought and experience, which we honor here this evening. So as Phil lights the first candle, it's for the Tao, honoring the universal path of harmony and equilibrium, the natural way. You want to use a candle here, bud? I forgot to tell you that part.
Easier?
Yeah.
Okay, great, thank
Okay.
you.
The second candle we light for the shamanic traditions, honoring the beliefs and practices of all indigenous peoples, the way of primal spirituality. The third candle we light for Hinduism, honoring the path of knowledge, action, and devotion. The fourth candle we light for Judaism, honoring the ethical path of living by sacred law. The fifth candle we light for all forms of Buddhism, honoring the Four Noble Truths and the path of compassion. The sixth candle we light for all forms of Christianity, honoring the Christ consciousness as the path of love. We light the seventh candle for all forms of Islam, honoring the path of submission to the will of God as the highest calling. We light the eighth candle for the universalistic religion of Baha'i, honoring the path of unity and peace. We light the ninth candle for all forms of new thought, honoring the metaphysical path of mental healing through the practice of universal spiritual principles. And 10th candle we light for all those who are as yet unaware of the power and presence of Spirit in their lives, and for the space we hold for them here in our center, within our online community, and within our own hearts. And as Phil lights the healing candle, the large candle there, As Phil lights a healing candle, please put silently into the light the names of anyone you wish to have experience the healing flame of God's eternal love.
God.
So as we take a breath and release, and in that release we are surrendering to the indwelling presence of that which is infinite in nature, everywhere present, contains all knowledge, the seat of the soul, that place, that resting place of the divine within the heart of all beings. That we are connecting with that and cultivating in a very conscious way this evening, cultivating a connection with the infinite power and presence of the divine through the practice of the remembrance of gratitude. That we use this time now to really set the stage, to have an experience of this National Day of Thanksgiving, where we consider this evening the many ways in which we've been blessed and continue to be blessed in this life. Grateful to have stuck with our spiritual practice enough to be able to find gratitude in the most challenging of circumstances that life sometimes throws at us. And so even as we remember those who may no longer be with us on this earth plane, we remember that back behind all of life is life eternal expressing. And so we give thanks tonight. We rest in gratitude. We share our good with each other. We share some time of meditation to contemplate the many ways in which we've been blessed, and we rejoice in it. So taking a deep breath, then one more time with one more release, we just release it, knowing it is done, knowing it is so. And together we acknowledge this by saying, and so it is. Amen. And so tonight, we're going to kind of do this on the fly. I was thinking we might have a few more people here this evening, but the ones we have are mighty in consciousness. And so we're going to do some reading and do some sharing, and then we'll do some little meditation. And what I thought we would do is just read some bits out of the Living the Science of Mind, where Ernest Holmes has written, is that right? Has written about the divine givingness, where he writes, it is the nature of spirit to give. Spirit is the essence of life as well as the intelligence back of everything. It is complete and perfect within itself. It is all power and all presence. We have nothing to offer nature other than a willingness to cooperate with her laws. If we are to demonstrate that the divine givingness is a principle in the universe, then we must set up a receiving center. No matter how abundantly the horn of plenty may pour into its universal gifts, there must be a bowl of acceptance, a chalice of expectancy, or the gift cannot be complete. The divine givingness is from eternity to eternity. Our receivingness may be spasmodic, he says, but many great souls have, through faith, reached back of the appearance to the cause of things and received directly and constantly from the divine bounty. The reason we do not all do this is because we do not believe that there is a divine givingness. So let's just sit with that for a couple moments. So taking a deep breath. Renzen's going to give us a little something to listen to. And then we'll have Dr. Maureen come up and share what she's grateful for.
Hi, everybody. Those out there on Facebook Live, on the live stream, and Phil and Reverend Mike. It was November 1995 when we had our first Thanksgiving Eve service here with me as what we called the pastor of the Granada Hills Church of Religious Science. A lot has happened in the years since then. And it's interesting to try to isolate what I'm most grateful for. There are so many things, so many different things. And one of the things that came to mind was how grateful I am to the Granada Hills Center for Spiritual Living, and most especially Reverend Dr. Mike, for giving me a soft place to land after I left the Center for Spiritual Living in Westlake Village. And every member of the congregation who welcomed me here when I came back. That's probably number one on my list, because around that time I was feeling a little bit vulnerable, as you might imagine. I'm so grateful to my kid's dad for gifting me with two beautiful children, my Heather, my Nathan, my baby girl and my baby boy, and my granddaughter through Heather, Sydney. I'm eternally grateful for that relationship. And I was talking to my friend Shirley Berman last week about how much I despise going grocery shopping and how grateful I am. And I actually told Bill, my kid's dad, this, that when we were married, I never went grocery shopping at all unless it was to pick up one thing. He did the weekly grocery shopping for me. And so I had this moment of remembrance. And then I thought, well, gee, I could hire him to go do my grocery shopping for me. But I changed my mind about that. I'm grateful, so grateful, for my sisters, my brother, my sister-in-love, Shirley. We call her Saint Shirley because she stayed married to my brother for over 40 years, almost 50 years now. And I'm grateful for my cousins that I've reacquainted with on Facebook. And I'm grateful for the cousins that I didn't even know I had, but that have created this wonderful family tree for us. And we always used to think that my dad was having a pipe dream about the family history and where they came from. My maiden name was Maurice, and come to find out that the whole name when they emigrated to Canada from France was Maurice de la Fantaisie, which means the house of fantasy or imagination. And all of us in our family inherited the idea of fantasy and imagination. So I'm grateful on so many different levels. Grateful for the fact that I'm still an active minister, that I'm still a practitioner. I'm grateful to have a clientele. I'm grateful for the people who have come to me over the last 5 or 6 years to do their editing and proofreading work. And I'm just most grateful that I'm in reasonably good health and that I continue to enjoy life, getting up in the morning, going to bed at night. I go to bed at night now when I used to go out years ago. And I think to myself, what was that all about? What was that all about? And my whole history of emigrating from Canada to the United States and the adventure that we created by means of my parents wanting to live in a warmer climate. So that, all considered, is so many different things. And for some people, it's simply having a roof over our heads, having food on the table, a place to sleep, and the love of good friends. I can think of two in particular, my friends Donna Butler and my friend Shirley Berman, that we are close, but there are so many more that I could add to the mix. And I'm grateful that Barbara Harrison, all those years ago, invited me to come and be the minister here in Granada Hills. It set the trajectory of my whole entire life, and I'm forever grateful to her and Nancy Woods, the Board of Trustees, for having me here. And again, I'm grateful to Reverend Mike for giving me a soft place to land after I left Westlake. Thank you.
So you can see where Holmes was headed with this reading, just in one person sharing. What, my mic is on mute, huh? Yeah. Boy, you really missed some good stuff there. Is the green light on?
Now it is.
Okay, there we go. All right. So sorry about that, folks. You really missed some wonderful wisdom there. What can I say? But the bottom line is what in this next reading that I just shared was that we make space, right? We make space for the divine givingness, right? So what does that mean within our own consciousness? If we're all clouded up with clutter and resentment and maybe trepidation, like, say, being around relatives for a big meal, right? That we have to clear out all of that stuff, all those old tapes, and become willing to just be a tabula rasa, right? A blank slate, go in with a new, open consciousness, a heart of receivingness, and see what we can bring to the table ourselves, which is different. All right, so let's take a breath on that, and we will meditate a little bit on that, receivingness. So making space within our heart, within our consciousness, for the divine receivingness. So taking a deep breath, focusing our attention on the breath in the nostril, breath, we feel the chest expand. Paying attention to the exhale. So bringing our attention gently back into the room. If your eyes have been closed, you can open them when you're ready. So I asked the practitioners if they wanted me to speak something into the room this evening. I heard from one of our practitioners. We can turn the Omen Bros down. One of our practitioners, Nanoska Duenas, who said continued good health. And our board president, Andrea Recht, expressed gratitude for this center and for the opportunity to serve on the board of trustees. So now I'm going to invite our friend Phil to come up and share, and I'm going to actually step out and get my phone. So if you would like me to read your gratitude offering, you can type it into the chat there, and I'll see if I can pick it up on my phone, and I'll read it here when Phil is finished. So come on up, Phil.
I just want to say hello to everybody, and I just want to express gratitude for my health and wholeness. I had an issue a while back. I got let go of a job, and I got the COVID-19 vaccine, being fully vaccinated, and I had a very negative reaction from the vaccine. My right leg was I was in excruciating pain for weeks, and I never had a pain like that my whole entire life. And I think it had something to do with the vaccine or any resistance that I might have had towards the vaccine. But to make like a long story short, I had a complete healing. I lost my job, but I've been doing a lot of meditation, a lot of prayer, and listening to a lot of inspirational tapes, and I had a complete healing of my body temple and the leg, and it went on for like weeks. The pain was beyond excruciating. At one point, when I was driving to work, I remember I was driving like 5 o'clock in the morning to try to get to the post real early, so that I would be there and kind of like pray up, just to kind of keep the energy flowing positively on the post. And the pain was so excruciating, I had to almost like put the car in park just to lift up my leg, because I couldn't even sit in the seat to even drive over to the workplace, and it was only like 10 minutes away from where I live, practically at the most. But the main point that I wanted to say, as a result of doing all the prayer and the meditating and spending a lot of time with Spirit, I was able to have a complete healing in my body temple to where pain is no more. And it's good to have functional legs, that you're able to walk functionally without being in excruciating pain. So I want to give deep gratitude for the Spirit of God that's ever active within the I am of me, that did all of the healing work in and through my body temple. And that's what that's the main thing I want to be grateful for. I have a million other things I could be grateful for, but I only have a few minutes, so I'm just trying to keep it to just a couple minutes. So that's the main thing to be grateful for. Thank you.
So on Facebook Live, so good to see Reverend Dr. Maureen. That's from Miriam Green. She's working in the kitchen tonight. She's usually here on Wednesdays for our meditation. And Michael Carlin saying hello from Boise. And Reverend Jessica's joining. And then over on the YouTube side, this is kind of weird. Oh, Annette's joined us on the live stream over on YouTube. So happy Thanksgiving to Annette. And Mike Carlin is reporting that it's clear skies in Boise and 27 degrees. So, and yes, Reverend Jessica, the stethoscope, Milena is brilliant. just, I have to say, I just thought that was so funny when she showed up with that. All right. So how are we doing with time? Well, I guess I will share. We'll do a little meditation after a little reading that I have, and then we'll just kind of let Renzing come up if he wants to do a little sharing. And you can put in the chat how much you appreciate having good sound people here at the center. So I know for myself, I'll just say this, that I'm glad Dr. Maureen made her way over here in 95. Is that when you started, 95? So I'm just kind of putting it all together because I got here in 2000, and I thought you'd been in ministry for years before that. So, but now I'm like, wow, 5 years. So you need to understand this place looked completely different in 2000. And so Dr. Maureen, or Reverend Maureen then, as a 5-year minister with a strong board president at the time, Mark Sawicki, and the board, transformed this whole place into the format that you see now. Because I've often joked that if I hadn't had 13 years of AA meetings behind me, I probably wouldn't have stuck around, right? So here we have this teaching, which teaches prosperity and so forth, and it was really dated, and the people were wonderful. I mean, that's what you come back for, right? But it was much more narrow and had some old orange chairs, and yeah, it needed a facelift. And so they widened the sanctuary and so forth. And so it's been, I'm really grateful for this place. I think I mentioned it on Sunday. It gave me a place to land when I was, came in here with my backside full of arrows out of a divorce, and Reverend Maureen just had me bend over and start pulling those arrows out. Yeah. And through the teaching of the philosophy, right? So I started to see my part in things, not only there but in other places of my life, and it's like when you get into this cycle of taking classes, the cycle of doing the interior work in the ways that Holmes is talking about, right? So I never thought there's divine givingness, divine receiving-ness. I have to release stuff in order to get more. These were foreign concepts, And then I came to see that they were key to my being able to receive what it was I was really looking for at the time, which was a joy for life, right? Because I was a beaten man, right? I felt bankrupt in every area. And I still remember we were at the back door, and so, people are supposed to ask for treatment, right? Which I didn't know about any of that. And Reverend Maureen says, well, I'm not supposed to do this because I'd been in here kind of whining a bit. And so she gave me this treatment, right, at the kitchen door on our way out. And what she told me at the time was that I had a lot more joy in me than I knew. And, it's one of those times when you have a friend who sees the truth in you, right? And of course, we weren't friends yet. Well, at least not on this conscious plane. But she was my pastor at that time and could see the truth in me. And a lot of other people, right? John Sparks, Gretchen Sparks befriended me, Pat Birch, Terry Mosman, some of these people you still know. Of course, Reverend Nancy, and Alan Branch, right, and Mary Lou, was that her name? Mary Lou. Yeah, anyway, there was a whole bunch of folks. So I'm just grateful that I found my way to this place. I'm grateful that I was able to take my mom to Ireland a couple times before she passed. I'm glad I got to take my dad was with me on one of those trips, and my son made it over. He was on vacation in Europe, and we waited for him in Limerick City, and we were able to tour Ireland together with his grandfather and his grandmother, and he got to drink Guinness, and I got to watch. And I got to watch my dad sing Lovely Leitrim one more time at McHugh's in Glenfarne. Of course, I'm grateful that after many trials and tribulations, I finally found a gal who could put up with me. I found my Shirley in the way of Stephanie, and we have a nice life together. And of course, without, for me, it all started in late January in 1988 when I was reading a book, and I read the line, "Why don't you choose your own conception of God?" And that was in the pages of Alcoholics Anonymous, where I started my path to sobriety on February 1 in 1988. Because you see, without that, none of this happens. None of it. Because on page 12 in that book, it talks about a creative intelligence and a universal mind. And I remember when I looked up from the page and I said, yeah, that makes sense. And then it took 13 years to find my way here, to have that idea teased out and then fully developed. And here I am today. And so what I know about that is that all it takes is recognizing that there is a spark of the divine within all of us. And if we become willing to fan that spark and bring it up to a flame, that we can stoke that fire within. And that within it is a power we can use and utilize, a presence that lifts and raises not only us, but those around us, that restores us to a sanity, as they say in 12-step, through enlivening our consciousness and allowing us to expand in our thinking and in our way of actually walking and being in the world, that allows us to be the agents, the free agents of the divine expressing. And I have found that to be a very powerful idea and a very powerful notion, especially on the days when I act like I know it. And so I'm grateful for all of that. And I got to tell you, I'm grateful for the gift of faith. After years of 12-step, I've seen people struggle with the notion that there is a power greater than ourselves, right? And to have that sense, even if it's just a suspicion that it may be true, that's enough to start. You can change your life and change your world and change the world. So I'm grateful for all of that. So I found this by Reverend Donna Caldwell. She's a Unity minister, and I'm sorry I don't remember what church she's from. Maybe it'll be here at the bottom. But she says this, that an attitude of gratitude pulls it all together. An attitude of gratitude has been described as the power which attracts and magnifies the hidden possibilities of life. In reading Wallace Wattles' great work, The Science of Getting Rich, there is a passage in chapter 7 that stays with me. He says gratitude does bring you more good, but that is not the only reason to practice gratitude. Gratitude is preventative, because without gratitude, it won't be long before our thoughts flip into what's wrong, what's missing, what's going on, where's mine? So gratitude not only invokes a law of increase of our greater good, but it prevents the downdraft of moving into the ideas and feelings of what's wrong, and thereby creating more of that. When we really get into the stream of gratitude, there is a natural pull to a higher life, a life with more meaning and purpose. This is higher consciousness, feeling appreciation, and all the things that begin to attract themselves to us are in harmony with that gratitude. She writes, I love the words of Ernest Holmes on gratitude. An attitude of gratitude is most salutary and bespeaks the realization that we are already in heaven. Gratitude unlocks the fullness of life. It turns what we have into enough and more. It turns denial to acceptance, chaos into order, and confusion into clarity. It can turn a meal into a feast, a house into a home, a stranger to a friend. Gratitude makes sense of our past, brings beauty, brings peace for today, and creates a vision for tomorrow. So let's spend a few moments in prayerful gratitude. God is my source. God is my power. God gives me everything I need. So I give thanks for all my blessings. God gives me everything I need. God is my source. God is my power. God gives me everything I need. So I give thanks for all my blessings. God gives me everything I need. Love is my source. Love is my source. Let's get into it. Love is my power. Love gives me everything I need. So I give thanks for all my blessings. Love gives me everything I need. I'm in Phil's key anyway. Peace is my source. Peace is my power. Peace gives me everything I need. So I give thanks for all my blessings. Peace gives me everything I need. Joy is my source. Joy is my power. Joy gives me everything I need. So I give thanks for all my blessings. Joy gives me everything I need. One more time. God is my source. God is my power. God gives me everything I need. So I give thanks for all my blessings. God gives me everything I need. All right, so let's take a deep breath on that before Phil busts a gut. He actually was singing out loud in front of people, and maybe you were too at home. So just feel the joy in this moment, breathing deeply, following the breath. breath. And exhaling. Now we're going to hear from Renzen.
I wasn't expecting to talk, but if there's just a couple things I'm thankful for. One, definitely being my family, especially during the pandemic. They have been a rock, and can't say I'm just so thankful of them. Very thankful with all my friends that kind of kept me sane, kind of kept me grounded, and really thankful for my job that I got during the pandemic and have been probably the best job I've had in a long time. So so much things to be thankful for. But overall, I'm just thankful that during adversity, I've been able to, find my footing and kind of reevaluate where I should be in life, and I feel like I'm on a good path. So for that, I'm very thankful. So I think I'm going to leave it short and sweet. But yeah, thank you, Rev, for inviting me up.
Great. Good job. Thank you, Renzen. All right, so since we don't get the opportunity every Wednesday night to do this, I'm going to ask the good Reverend Dr. Maureen Hoyt to give us a closing treatment where she can just throw in a whole bunch of stuff to be grateful and thankful for. And I'm grateful that you're here tonight.
So every time I hear when Reverend Mike was talking about the reading that he did about givingness and receivingness, I'm so reminded of an old book that hasn't been around for a while. It's called 101 Ways to Avoid Reincarnation. And it's got all kinds of chapters in the book. It's called Channeling for Dollars is one of them. But the other one of the chapters, I laughed through the whole book because they were making fun of New Age, New Thought people. And one of the chapters said, you can always tell New Age people because they put ness on the end of all the words. Oh, I just cracked up with that. So I'm going to read a piece that I sent out today to the students in my summer class. And my friend Reverend Jeff Radcliffe posted it on Facebook today. And then I'll close with a treatment after I do this. Ernest Holmes wrote this. It's a prosperity affirmation called Divine Abundance is Forever Manifesting in My Affairs. Today, I expect every good thing to come to me, for I know that divine abundance is forever manifesting itself in my affairs. I am keeping my whole mind and thought and expectation open to new experiences, to happier events, to a more complete self-expression. Everything that belongs to spirit, I accept. Everything that partakes of the nature of divine reality, I claim as my own. I identify with success, and I prosper in everything I do. As I give thanks for the good now flowing into my life, I gladly share that good with others. The more I give, the more I receive. I experience a deeper consciousness of peace and security, for I know that I am in the embrace of a warm, loving presence forever seeking an outlet through me. So if you'll join me in consciousness, please, and go within to that perfect place of peace, that inner sanctuary that has never been violated, that knows nothing outside that pure essence of spirit. And as I speak this truth in the first person, I know that God is now identifying itself by means of me. That as I recognize spirit in all things, in the physical world, in the emotional world, in the spiritual world, I know that I am forever guided and directed by the power and presence of God. And as Father Leo Booth said, wherever I am, that is where the center of the universe is. Wherever I am, that is where meaning has its beginning. To know that I have a purpose in this world, to know in every fiber of my being that I am important and unique, to know that without me, the world would not be the same. That is walking on water. And so I know the idea of walking on water is not my current reality, but I know that the possibility that God has in store for me the moment I decide to accept the blessings of the universe, abundant good health, wonderful relationships, perfect prosperity, and creative expression that has a meaning and a purpose. I know that God is in the mix. And so today, I know for each person on the live stream, for those in the center today, that there is not only possibility thinking, but probability thinking when I let go and I let God have its way with me. Knowing that there is a power for good in the universe available to everyone, and we can use it. There is a power for good in the universe available to everyone, and it uses us. And so I know this to be the truth today as we close out this time together, that there is the opportunity for a happy Thanksgiving, a joyful celebration, good food, great friends, wonderful family, and above all else, kindness and generosity toward one another. And so from this place in consciousness, I joyfully receive and give thanks, knowing God is in the mix, all is well, as we say together, and so it is. Happy Turkey Day tomorrow, everyone. Please have a good time, be safe out there, and enjoy yourselves. Thanks for being here. Good? Done? Yes.